Hello, YouTube. This is Autumn, and of course, it is Wednesday, and I am your host for Trans by Deaf on Wednesdays. Wednesdays with Autumn, to be specific. I know, Autumn on Wednesday with Autumn. How amazing, right? Oh my god. I am so excited. How about you? Anyway, so things have been well in the past week. It's awesome to know that it's week 2 of this little experiment of ours. A couple of interesting things have happened. Last Saturday night was my company's Christmas party, and I actually did not go in a tux. Let me put you that way. Um, I wore this strapless purple dress with black leggings, and it looked kind of amazing. I'm not gonna lie. I actually, if you look on my personal channel, which is a_Dresden_doll, you can see the video that I posted up here, and I'll also link it up here too for anyone that wants to see it. But suffice to say, it was a pretty daring dress. And I'm 6'2", so not exactly like I didn't stand out or anything. And most people don't know I'm trans, so anyone that actually recognized me from work who doesn't already know kind of got a big surprise. I half expected people to have an understanding or idea whenever I went and Halloween, whenever we dressed up. And basically, it was this one day that I didn't have to cross-dress. So everyone else was wearing a costume. I was just dressing normally. I got a lot of looks on there, too. But it was kind of interesting going to this big party, and there's a lot of people that work for Bright House. It was for the whole Eastern and Central Florida division, so there was easily over 1,000 workers there. It was quite interesting. Good time. Party I thought could have been a little bit more livelier, but what do you expect? It's a big work party. And it was great, and everyone had a pretty good time. And they gave out gifts. I didn't win anything, but what are you gonna do? Other than that, though, things have been kind of trudging on. I'm just trying to get everything in order for going full-time here at work come January 1st. I'm very excited for that. Um, Actually, not so much excited as I am relieved just to be done with it, and well, not be done with it, to start it, really, and just kind of move forward and, be myself every day and not have to live this sort of dual-gendered life, which is quickly turning into a sham. Most people who actually know me tell me it's kind of like watching a really, really, like, butch lesbian. That's pretty much how, like, I look now, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, I still get gendered as sir. Though actually I have switched over to using this voice exclusively only at work, and I'm trying to improve it as I go. Occasionally I get gendered as male on the phone, mostly because it's hard to keep it up. It's hard to raise this voice up. I'm really trying hard, but I think by January 1st I'm going to be really comfortable with it. I mean, I'm already using it now, so there's really no, it's whatever at this point. Moving on, let's go on to this week's topic so I don't talk for 10 minutes like I did last time. And this week's topic is by Emma, and she wrote, "How has embracing your trans identity improved your life?" Now, of course, there's the obvious. The obvious is that I actually have a future. Um, I know for certain if I hadn't transitioned, having gone through what I've gone through and knowing what I know now, that I surely would have killed myself. Might not be tomorrow, it might not be 5 years from now, but I know sometime in the future of my life, I know with absolute certainty that I would not, that I would be the doing of my death, and I would kill myself. And honestly, I think if I had waited, and I know some people do, and that's totally fine, but for me, I know if I had waited until I was 40 or 50, or heaven forbid 60, to decide the transition, or realized at that point that I'd been living a lie my whole life, I think the only sane option to do at that point would be to kill myself, which is a completely irrational and insane judgment to make, conclusion to make, so basically I'm glad I'm doing it now. I have a future. I have a future in my daughter's life, which is the most important thing. But there's a lot of other good things, smaller things, besides the obvious of transition. Transition really, is you finally taking a stand for you and being yourself. But there's a lot of small things, too, that can come of it that are really good. For example, diet has definitely improved. When I decided to transition, I was over 300 pounds, and I needed to lose weight. I realized that there was no way that I could transition successfully being that heavy. Part of that problem is that I'm 6'2", so I'm huge. I'm a giant. I could be a tall woman, but I couldn't be a tall, you know, huge woman. You know, it would just really make things difficult for me. And you know, I'm not ashamed to admit that I'm trans, and I will tell people, and I will gladly educate those who want to be educated or sometimes need to be educated. However, my goal is to blend in. And 6'2" makes it difficult enough. 6'2" and over 300 pounds makes it nearly impossible. I still have a lot of way to go, but you know, I took a lot of drastic improvements for my health for that. Um, and you know, some other things too. This more of a sidestep. This more of a, I guess, more of an outcome from the hormones. Is that since starting HRT, I know now my brain really, literally needed estrogen to really fully function. It's hard to describe, but the best analogy I can make is that, you know, before I was running on dirty fuel, and now I'm running on clean. And when I started hormones, it didn't feel like an inner peace or overall calming that came over me. It felt like I was fucking alive. Like I could literally do things that before I would think, you know, that I thought were impossible. It just made me come alive more than anything. More than anything in my entire life. I cannot think of any better antidepressant than hormones, honestly. I mean, things are still hard and I still get down and I still have confidence issues, but it's nothing like it was before. Absolutely nothing. I have a future that I look forward to now, as I said before, and that's something I've never had in my life. That's something where, I mean, for example, when I was in kindergarten, my teacher actually pulled my mom aside and had conferences with her because she was afraid of my confidence. I hated myself so much. I was so unconfident, even in kindergarten, that I refused to draw or pick up a crayon or do anything because I realized, or I thought in my head, or excuse me, in my head, I knew it was going to be crap because I was worthless, because I was just nothing, you know. Just one of the side effects, I think, and I'm pretty certain now looking in hindsight of being trans, of dealing with, you know, being in, you know, feeling a certain way and then subconsciously having society tell me that I'm wrong. So if I'm wrong about that, of something so deep and personal, I have to be wrong about everything else, right? At least that's the rationale I went through as a small child. Um, and confidence is the big thing. So diet, confidence, obviously the biggest one. Is really anything I'm missing? Honestly, I could probably write a whole book on this subject alone of how how transition has improved your life. Um, and you know, I mean, there are some things I've had to give up, but you know, I think that's something. I think that's great. We should focus on, you know, the positives of transitioning. You know, of even though we do lose things in people in our lives sometimes, that I'll paraphrase something from Alan Moore and you know, in the book V for Vendetta. You know, basically, I have my inch now. It may be an inch, and I may have given up so much for this inch, but in this inch, in this tiny little inch, I'm free. I'm infinitely free because I finally have my inch. Well, I think I'm going to wrap that up from here now. It's been going on long enough. But as always, it's been a pleasure, and I hope you're all doing well. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.